Now let's understand what happens during the develop phase. Now develop is the step where you actually build the machine learning solution itself. That is, you do all the various different activities that are related to developing your machine learning model. Now, what are all these different activities? The first step is data pre-processing. Now, after you collect your data, you want to process it so that it is suitable for training your models. Right? That is data pre-processing. On preparing the data, you might also want to create new features out of it. For example, what I mean by that is, in your original data that you have already collected and prepared, you might have fields like, say, the area of the house, zip code, parking area, number of schools, and information like that. Now, from this existing information, you might also want to create new variables out of it. New variables, for example, it could be something like parking area. Parking area divided by the total area can be called as proportion of parking area. This is a new field. It might be useful for your machine learning model development or model training also, right? The art of creating such meaningful and useful fields from your existing data is called feature engineering, right? So you prepare the data, you prepare new features, you train the model, you diagnose the model, you validate the model how it performs on new data that it has not seen. Then you tune your model, format your outputs, then improve your algorithms also finally. Then after all this is done, you also want to interpret the output of your models. Now, so many steps are involved, right? So many different activities are involved. You might also want to structure all of them into a pipeline, and that we call as the pipeline. So, the data pre-processing is followed by feature engineering, then it followed by model training, then diagnostics, then cross-validation, and so on, right? So, all these steps might be connected together in a pipeline. So, these are some of the typical activities involved during the develop phase. At the end of the develop phase, you will typically have a machine learning model that actually gives you the predictions of the price of a given house.